This is Tara, a client of mine, now a friend of mine, who is staying here in Belgrade with myself and my mom for a month. We're going to Romania, well, 3 weeks, and then we're going to Romania on a road trip. She is an INFP, and we've been having some interesting conversations on all things INFP, so thought we'd bring you into the conversation. Okay, so the guy's wearing the whatever Japanese artist, I don't understand. What's his name?
Junji Ito.
He looked like he was attractive, maybe. I don't know. No, he had the shirt. Well, whatever. You like friends who are into Japanese stuff. Why don't you just go up and be like, hey, the guy in the shirt?
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't want to. It's too much. It's too much work. Like the risk of him being weird or just not that interesting is just not worth the headache. So I'm just like, nah, I'm just not going to talk to you. I appreciate your Junji Ito shirt from afar.
I think you need to learn to be more awkward. This is something I've been trying to embrace for a while, because INFPs, you guys have like all the sensitivity we do to like not being confrontational and to sensing people's emotions, but then you don't have our charm to like wiggle out of situations. And I think one thing that would be helpful is just being awkward. So like you go talk to the guy and then he's kind of talking and you're like, oh, and you could just say, all right, I want to leave now. You're boring.
See, but like
what would be the worst thing that could happen?
As an INFP, even if he like, maybe he thinks nothing of it, but in my head, I've made up a story about how his heart is broken for like the rest of his life. And I'm like, oh God, I like hurt this poor guy by saying he's boring and I don't want to talk to him.
Not he's boring, you're bored. Just say, I'm bored, I want to leave now, and then walk away.
See, I think that is a thing that INFPs do though. Like we make up, because we tend to be sensitive, we tend to project that onto everyone. So we're like, oh God, it's gonna ruin his entire day. If I say I'm bored, he's gonna take that personally and then he'll just be broken for like an entire week. I can't do that to someone. And yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting fantasy world. I find it very awkward as well, like to leave a conversation or leave things. The richest guy in Canada, at least he was when I lived there, and he has a rule for his private plane, for his like employees if they're flying with him, is whenever he arrives, they leave. And he's just very like harsh, right, with his time and with everything. But I was thinking about that with things like the other day I was with my team and we were doing some brainstorming. And then we kind of reached the limit, and I was at the point where really I just wanted to like get up and go home. Like I was like, I'm kind of mentally done. I need to go rest, work on other stuff. But I like played it out over 20 minutes before I was finally kind of ended things. And I more and more try to embrace it and just be like, okay, I want to leave now, meeting over. Because the guy is the extreme of that, right? The plane example. Like he's the extreme of you start when he wants to, when it's over. And it's an interesting thing, but I find I burn a lot of energy lingering in conversations. Like it's almost more draining than a very intense conversation. Is the lingering one where you're like, I want this to end. I don't want to be
30
here.
minutes ago.
And like you're kind of waiting what happened. And then in Europe, they don't bring you the bill because they don't want to kick you out. So maybe America's set up for awkward people. So it's like, here's the bill, leave. But here you have to really go out of your way to get the bill.
Yeah.
So you're stuck kind of lingering for so long. So I wonder about embracing the awkward. Like you were saying the other day, you didn't want to walk home in Prague because there was a creepy guy kind of following you or something. And you were like, what could I have done? And I was like, step one, you could have been like, stop following me. Like you could just say the most basic. I don't know like what streets you were on or how busy it was or whatever else, right?
It's pretty busy.
It's pretty busy, and like Prague's a very safe city. But yeah, I've been thinking about that more, just embracing the socially awkward, because there is something to just being direct about, like, I don't want to be here now, I want to be home. And I don't know how long you can do that before people stop wanting to be your friend. But it may be easier than trying to like linger. I don't know.
Yeah, like I feel like maybe there's a middle ground where you can be.
Yeah, not socially awkward, comfortable
Yeah.
people, but until we're that, we have two choices. We don't have that option.
I'm sure Google has some answers for us. Like,
Yeah.
how do you gracefully say, like, I'm ready to go now? Like, in a way that's not so obscure that no one gets that's what
Yeah.
you're trying to do. Like, there has to be a middle ground between not saying anything and acting like you're happy to be there and just being like, I'm bored, goodbye.
I have to be clear, I am joking about just saying, I'm bored, I don't want to be here. That's like the extreme to sort of make you comfortable with it. But what I really mean with it is, yeah, you could just say, and I'm thinking of an ENTJ friend of mine who always leaves, like he's very into his bedtime. It's very important that he's in bed on time. And so it's just simply like, all right, guys, I'm going. Like, it's a very simple thing, which is somehow not the easiest for us NFPs to say.
Yeah.
It's like, and I've been in those situations a bunch where you're kind of feeling obligated to stay, and then everyone else kind of leaves a bit later, but now you've missed your ride home or whatever it would have been. Like, you're just like, oh, it's like I could have just left whenever I wanted.
You know, now that you say that, I'm thinking of a friend who's very good about that. Like, she has an early bedtime. And I guess that is one tactic. If you either, heck, I guess you could just make something up and say, like, this is a thing I do. But she's like, I go to bed at this time. And we all understand that.
Yeah.
No one's going to fight her on it.
Yeah.
It's like, that's just what I do. So, you know, when we're playing our D&D game, we talk for a while after, and she just brings it up. She's like, okay, well, it's 9 o'clock. Like, it's time for me to like go to bed. And then we say, okay, all right, bye everyone. And we leave because she's just very clear. That's when I go to bed. And I think we all see it as a reasonable thing. It's like,
Yeah.
well, she's tired. So like, we're going to go. And yeah, I think that's a fair tactic. Just be like, this is a thing I do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. It's such a thing that shouldn't be a big deal. And some of it is the imagination. Some of it is, for my side, it's an understanding, like if you're out with someone, say on a Friday, and you sort of know, like it's like, yeah, let's have an evening of it. And let's say an evening of it is to be out until 1. And then if you do leave at like 9, it's like, yeah, you have that right, but it's kind of disappointing to everyone. It's like, hey, we kind of made plans. Like, if I knew you'd go home at 9, I would have like made other plans that would, you know, fill my thing. But it goes to a point I think came up over breakfast, was being clear on like what you actually want versus what you say you want due to discomfort. So is that conversation around like, okay, there's like, this happens with guys all the time, right? There's a cute girl you want to talk to, and a guy will say, oh, you know, she's like my style, or I'd love to talk to her. And you say, why don't you go talk to her? No, I don't want to. It's like, no, you do want to, but you're scared of the risk, the rejection, looking dumb.
Yeah.
And because if you say, well, I can guarantee you if you go over and say, hi, my name is Chris, she'd be like, oh my God, please make love to me on this table. You'd go over there 99% out of the time, right? So it's, you want to do it, but you're like scared of the consequences.
Yeah.
But then you say, I don't want to do it, which is bullshit. You do want to do it. And I think it's a really important distinction, because if you lie to yourself about what you want, you have no way to actually break through fears and barriers to get it. So if you say, I don't want to date this person, but you actually really want to date them, but you feel like you're not attractive enough or successful enough, And that's a whole nother story. Like, that's not the conversation I want to have in terms of, are you attractive enough for that? But let's take remember Lord of War with Nicolas Cage?
No.
He's like an arms dealer in it. And in his neighborhood, there's this woman he's like in love with. I think she was like the local beauty pageant winner or something. And when he gets successful, he like hires her for a photo shoot and he pretends he has a private jet and like flies her out, and then like they get married and all that. And he basically is like, this is what I want, and now I'll sell arms to like the third world. I'll start wars. I'll become a multimillionaire. Not good actions. I'm not condoning. But he found a way to change himself to what she would want, or what he thought she wanted, or whatever, right? Which again, I just want to be clear, like that's not what I think people should do. But I'm just saying, if you acknowledge, okay, I want to be able to ask strangers out on dates, but I'm scared, then you can say, cool, we can address that fear.
Yeah.
If you say, I want to be able to ask strangers out on dates, but I feel like I'm kind of unattractive, then you can say, cool, like let's work on the beer gut, let's get you a better haircut, we can work on the clothing or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's the confidence. Maybe it's actually, no, you're good, you just have to feel more confident. But if you're just like, no, I don't want to, I'd like really rather be at home playing Counter-Strike, that's like really what I want to do, then it's like you have nothing to work with, and then you sort of eventually become, I don't know, I assume you join ISIS basically. Like, I assume 9 out of 10 ISIS members are guys who were like, no, I don't want to talk to her. No.
Or you just spend your life playing Counter-Strike by yourself.
Yeah. Which is a thing too.
Yeah.
But I think it's painful to admit you're scared of something, or you're not good enough, or you feel you're not good enough, whether or not you are. So we avoid doing that. But there's value in being objective and saying, same thing with like people who want to start their own business or start something artistic. Like someone maybe loves painting, and they'll say, no, I don't, I just do it for fun. I don't really want to do it. And you're like, bullshit. Like if you could spend your life painting all day, how would you feel? Amazing, that would be the best thing ever, but I don't want to do it. No, you do want to do it. You're just scared, which is totally normal, that you won't be good enough or you won't succeed.
Yeah.
So just say, I really want to be a painter. I'm just scared. Cool. Now we can work on your fear. We can work on your confidence. We can come up with a plan. As long as you're living in that lie of like, I don't want to do this. Yeah, she's beautiful and funny and my perfect girl, but I don't want to talk to her. It would be more fun to be home playing Counter-Strike. Like, what are you going to do about that, right? And I think that is what so many people do. And it's easier now than ever to do that.
Yeah.
I filmed a video on this the other day about like online dating and pornography and just like all that, like 50 years ago, and even more like 300 years ago, if you wanted to see a breast, you had to put in some serious effort. Like you gotta like work at it. You're buying some dinners. I don't know if they bought dinners 300 years ago, what it was, but like picking flowers, and everyone was forced to overcome some discomfort and fear to basically even live.
Yeah.
Like even a lot of jobs would have more like, this is uncomfortable, but you got to do it. You didn't have safe spaces at the office where it's like, this is uncomfortable. You have a sales job. Sales jobs are naturally uncomfortable.
Oh my God, yeah.
Or whatever, right? Like door-to-door sales is brutal.
Yes.
But I did like door-to-door sales jobs. I hated it, but you learn to push through the fear. And when we never have to do anything that difficult, and especially with parents who kind of make it okay, which were my parents, I learned to do uncomfortable things after teenage years and childhood.
Interesting.
So it's not that they didn't try, like they did, I think, put me in different sports and other things. But I think if I was like, nah, I don't want to do it, it was like, okay, like don't upset him or whatever.
Right.
Like you've met my mom here. She's a coddler, like.
Yeah, it's definitely my parents.
And so you never really learn to do really uncomfortable things. And you don't learn that, hey, sometimes you're scared, then you do a thing, and then it works out, and then life is awesome. So like,
Yeah.
once you connect those, your life opens up and is very different. And for me, I've had so many of those experiences, like whether it is dating, moving places, starting businesses, doing specific things in my business, publishing books. It's like every time it's like, this is new, I'm scared. And then I did it, and then I'm rewarded. Oh, cool. So like it programs you differently, right? But it is so easy to avoid anything uncomfortable now that people can be 25 and have never faced a fear necessarily. And then, I mean, this is basic, what is it, agoraphobia, where you don't want to leave your house?
Yeah.
That's how it happens. It basically is like, it's a pattern. It's not randomly your brain is like, boom, you're scared to go out. It's over time, you go less and less, and then it becomes like just your natural state. Same way the other way, if you do more and more uncomfortable things. But if you don't admit what you really want, then why would you ever face a fear? You know, going back to the earlier point, is if you just lie to yourself, like, no, I'm really happy in this studio apartment playing Counter-Strike, being celibate. This is like my dream life. I have 2 friends. I don't like them very much, but meeting new friends is hard. It's like, not to make fun of that, but it's funny because we all catch ourselves doing this. I still catch myself doing this, like where you say, I don't want to do that. You're like, no, I do want to do that. I just don't want to go through the discomfort. So, which is also okay, because you don't have to always do the uncomfortable or hard thing.
Yeah.
So it's okay to say, I would love to ask the stranger out, but honestly, it's like gonna be awkward and I just don't want to deal with that right now. So I'm just gonna like, not. But then at least you're honest with yourself, and then you can objectively sort of assess things in your life. So, Tara, today we will make you ask out strangers all day, all night.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
But inside, I'll acknowledge if I actually want to talk to them.
Awesome. Cool.
Indeed.
Well, this is Dreams Around the World. My name is Dan. This is Tara. I publish new videos each and every week. My mission here is to help you become the best version of yourself, all while creating the most awesome life possible for you and those you love. So hit the subscribe button, the bell, and I will catch you in another video soon. One last thing, if you're an ENFP who loves being told how absolutely awesome you are and why you are the best in the world, well, head over to dreamsaroundtheworld.com/ENFP training, and you can get my free training series for ENFPs, where the first email is a pep talk. You'll see the subject line in your inbox, ENFPs are awesome. After you read it, reply to the email me back, and let me know what one of your favorite things to do is. See you in your inbox.